Hi guys. Okay, I'm gonna start again. Remember, we've been measuring to the inch. So from 0 to 1, or from 0 to 3, or from 0 we even did 8 or 9 and 10. But now we want to do to the half inch. Take a look. So literally, a half of an inch is kind of this long mark right here in between the 0 and the 1. And if it's okay with your mom, you might make it a little bit longer or put a little mark on it so that you know where the half inch is. Okay, I'm going to also mark so that is from the 0 to that long mark that I just made right there. That's the half inch. Now, after the 1, there's a half inch. So if something measured 1.5 inches, and I'm going to add to that little mark a little bit, maybe not so long, but you can see the little pencil mark I just made. That would be 1.5. Okay. I can erase those pencil marks or I can leave them there. I'm going to start with my playing card, and I'm going to put it at the 0, and let's see how long it is. Ooh, oh my goodness, look, it stops right here. So what would that be? You got it. I know you're saying it out loud. I just can't hear you. It's not 1.5. It's 2.5 inches. This playing card is 2.5 inches wide. Let's check and see how far it is long. Is it? Oh, and take a look. That's perfect. Can you see it? It goes from the 0 to the, not the 1, not the 2, not the 3, but the 3.5 inch mark. The 3.5 inch mark. So this playing card is 3.5 inches long. So it's 2.5 inches wide and 3.5 inches long. Okay, that was a good one because we got 2 half inches out of it. Let's try Katie's paint. All right. Let's see. Let's put it at the 0. Now it's going to be, because it's kind of like that dike that we talked about in the Pilgrim Stories. It's wider at the bottom and more narrow at the top, but it's actually thinner at the bottom. But I'm going to find a spot in here that measures a half. So does that look like, oh yeah, that's a good spot. So what's that? It goes from the 0 to the 1.5 inches. So this tube of paint is 1.5 inches wide at that spot, right under the drop of color. Okay. Let's see. Let's try my lid. I'm going to put it right on the 0, and I'm going to go over. Oops, does it show? Yep. I'm going to put it on the 0, and it goes to it's not to the 3 yet. So what half marking would be before the 3? It's not going to be 3.5. That's past the 3. What half increment comes before 3? That's right. It was the length of 2.5 right there. So this water bottle lid was 2.5 inches wide. Okay, let's try this cutie. Is it looking properly to you? Yep. Same thing. The diameter of this cutie, it's a little bit less than 2.5 inches. It's a little bit less than the half inch mark of the 2, but we could definitely round that up or call it 2.5. I would do it 2.5. Okay, last one I have to measure is my yogurt. Let's take a look, the top of my yogurt. And I'm looking at this through the camera, and I hope it looks right to you. Put the 0 there, and yep. Okay, take a look. This is my biggest thing that I've measured. Now, you guys probably have some cars. You may have a toy doll. You may have something else that you could measure But I just don't happen to have any of those here. So I got some things here in my kitchen. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. 4.5 inches. This Yoplait yogurt is 4.5 inches wide, the lid at the top, the container. Okay, I'm going to turn to my spiral. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet and quick. And I'm going to draw, you can choose what you want to draw. You can draw 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, or you can draw 2.5, 4.5, 6.5. Do 2 or 3 half markings. I'm going to start right now. I think I'm going to start with, because I want to show you how to write it. I think I'm going to start with 1.5. So I'm putting my, remember, oops, I'm going to aim this down so you can see. Now I've got to scoot back. Putting my line at the 0. Then I'm going from 0 past the 1 to the 1.5 mark. And then I'm putting it a line segment right there. The end of the line is right there. So do you see my 1.5 mark, my 1.5 line? Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to write 1 1/2. Or I could do it this way, 1 1/2 inches. And then I have to write that INCHES. It will say that on your ruler. It should always say inches. Spell it for you. But take a look. See how I did 1 1/2? And that's one way to write a fraction, or 1 1/2, one of the halves family, inches. All right, I've got to do the fraction family for David, and you all can rewatch it and we'll name those. Let's see, I did 1.5 inches. Let's try, I think I'm going to do 3.5 inches now. So I'm going to put a mark at the 0. Oops, scoot back vertically. Then I'm going to draw my line, 1, 2, 3.5. 3.5 inches. Take a look. There's my 3.5 inches. Let me show you my measuring of it. Got that on the 0. Do you see? It stops at the 3.5. Okay, I'm going quick. 3 1/2 inches. Okay. I care less that you draw these as you gather a few things to measure. I would like for you to practice measuring more than to write it down in your spiral. So if you can get some things measured, you can even trace them. Like I might trace this lid. Let's see, you didn't get to see me doing that. Trace the lid. So I just traced the lid shape, the circle, and now I'm going to measure across it to the 2.5 marking where I marked it before. Let's see. Now, it was a little bit short. So this is where I marked 2 1/2 inches. I realized it wasn't all the way across. Take a look. I traced my circle and I measured my distance. You could trace your playing card. You could maybe trace one of your cars. I could even trace my paint. The main thing is I want you to not only know how to measure inches, but I want you to find those 1/2 inch markings on your ruler. They're the long ones in between each numeral. And it's going to be the numeral in front, so 3 1/2. Then you go to the 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. And what do we know about 6? It's halfway of the distance of a ruler, because a ruler is always 12 inches long, which is the measure of 1 foot. Remember, in ancient Rome, they decided a man's foot, they measured by feet. Okay. All right. That's it for this measurement lesson. Goodbye.